Mike, welcome back.
I know you missed me.
I did a little bit. I mean, but how can you not like?
There's a song I wrote called Honey.
How can you not like that?
Joe, you did a great job filling in for me last week. Thank you. Yeah, you just make me Joe. That's great. You just want Joe back. He's a lot more fun than me, isn't he?
He was pretty fun. He was a blast to have on. And it was good too because we had 80 people on the live stream and there was a lot of fun interaction going on. You popped in for a minute. That was a fun time. We'll have to make sure we do lives more often together. We don't do lives enough, you and I.
I know. I enjoy doing live streams.
Yeah.
We are getting thunderstorms here in Texas. So if you hear thunder or hail against my window or sirens going off, I may leave and go take shelter. But it's seriously that bad. And so I am I'm listening in one ear and listening to you with the other, which is pretty much normal, you know.
I was gonna say I'm surprised I even got one ear today. We were joking before because your siren in your house went off, and you're like, "Yeah, there's some tornadoes happening around us." And I was like, "You want to reschedule this?" And you're like, "Nope." I'm just picturing the wall being taken away from you behind, and us still sitting here talking.
Yeah, a Wizard of Oz moment might happen while I'm here, but no worries, no worries. I missed you too, man. I enjoy doing this show with you. So,
well, thank you. Yeah, this is a highlight of the week. Many times when it comes to content for me, it's always I can't wait to do on the fly. Even in crazy days like this, you and I squeezing in storms and work. Here we are. Okay, March Madness. Was that not one heck of a weekend, 4-day weekend, or what?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite, if not one of my, I would probably rank favorite sporting events as, for me, number one is the Masters, which unless you're a golf guy, you don't get that. But the Masters is, they say, a tradition unlike any other, and they're not kidding. I just love Masters weekend. March Madness is second. And then probably the World Series for me, and then the Super Bowl are my top four. What about you? Favorite sporting events? Where does March Madness fit into that?
March Madness would be one for me. World Series 2, probably NBA Championship is 3. And then I'd go Masters 4. Yeah. Masters definitely top 4.
March Madness, it makes everyone and their mother a college football expert, you know, or college basketball expert for a weekend. And I mean, my bracket blew up the minute, you know, Baylor lost. You got a 15 seed in the Sweet 16. TCU, I actually picked TCU to win last night, and they should have. They got hosed on a call at the end of regulation last night. And that was probably a homer pick since I went to TCU, but they're actually a good team. They've beaten Kansas, Texas Tech this year.
They're very good. I've watched a lot of their games. Miles got screwed on that last play at the half court line.
Yes,
he got bumped. I like him a lot.
He's actually going to play at the next level, I think.
I think so too. He's got that edge about him for sure.
Yeah, and that guy for Arizona, Pac-12 Player of the Year, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he's a beast too.
Yeah, that whole team, man. There's a bunch of ridiculous athletes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that game went late into the night, like till almost midnight here. Super late. So
I'll tell you this, man. It was weird because this is the first year we've been in the Pacific time zone watching the games, and it was like you're getting up at 9 a.m. Games are going. You're going to bed or you're finishing your games at 8:15, with plenty of time to do other stuff after the game's end. It was just weird. I was so used to staying up late.
Yeah,
it was kind of nice. So you mentioned the bracket. Shout out to Snare3825 Zach on Twitter, guy I've talked to for many years in the sports car world. He recommended that I go check out this. Actually, so back up. It was not Zach. It was actually Graded Memories, Andrew, who recommended the bracket. Anyway, crazy bracket, $25 to enter. There's like 1,200 people in it. First prize gets like 15 grand. If Villanova beats Purdue in the finals, I have a shot at placing in the top 3.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I need to happen. So everybody root for Villanova to beat Purdue or to make it there.
What was your best upset pick? Like nobody picked St. Peter's to win, probably twice.
No, nobody really did. A lot of my picks are kind of further up the chain. So, like Kansas losing to Providence, I have a lot of my brackets have Providence beating Kansas.
How many brackets do you do a year?
5 or 6.
I did one. Like I'm the solo bracket guy.
Who was your champion, or who was your Final Four?
I got Gonzaga winning it all.
Okay.
Baylor was in the Final Four. They're out already.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to pull it up.
You don't have to do that. It's okay. No one really cares.
No one does care.
Right. Yeah. Well, around here is obviously Gonzaga country. So selfishly, I was hoping they would not lose because I wanted everyone to stay excited about basketball for another week.
But they looked bad in their second game. I wasn't impressed, honestly.
Memphis is good, though. Memphis is super athletic. Drew Timme turned it on in the second half. Yeah. That was pretty fun.
I like him. I like his old school look.
Yeah,
he looks like a guy from the 70s, playing. But that's Gonzaga's always had that.
Yeah,
those players like that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, you flip on ESPN and you see all these coaches leaving and going to other schools right now. Like it's the carousel taking place. It's a lot like what's happening in the hobby with all these names flipping. We had Joe Orlando left PSA, Collectors Universe, to go to Collectible. That was a few weeks ago. What did you think about that? Was that surprising to you?
Yes, because I just found out about it when you told me about it before we came on this show. So yes, it was surprising to me. It's not surprising that Joe would leave.
Yeah.
PSA or Collectors Universe or whatever. I think the writing was on the wall on that the minute that Nat Turner and his crew took over. When Joe took a different role in the company and Steve Sloan changed it. It's all, there's going to be these moves that are being made. New ownership gets to do that.
Yeah.
That's part of, becoming a new owner. And so we probably even talked about this when that Joe Orlando's time at Collectors Universe those days would be numbered.
Yep.
Turned out to be true.
Yeah.
And we do that a lot. We say things that turn out to be true.
We very much do. We predict the future quite often. Chris Carlin leaving Upper Deck, going to Collectors Universe. I don't really have much to say about that one. I guess there's a void to fill.
Well, he's going to be there for marketing and do some other things.
Customer care, I think.
Customer service. That's right.
Yeah.
Customer service stuff, which God knows they need help there. Right. So.
Yeah. Yeah. We had our own Jeff Pat Geek going to Panini as a director of marketing. So a lot of new names kind of filling spots. Why do you think that is? And it's a part of, I guess, the life cycle of any industry, but do you think there's some positioning for kind of what's going to be the new normal with Fanatics and kind of getting people into places where they feel more comfortable? Why do you think some shifts are taking place?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you got to think the hobby landscape is going to change over the next 5 years. Yeah. And I think that there are some people thinking ahead and going, okay, where do we want to be at in that pecking order of the hobby? Because Fanatics is going to be at the top. And then how do we position ourselves to be as close and working with that? We don't really know what Fanatics says. They want to be all things to all people. And so if that turns out to be true within the hobby, are you going to have a lot of these other companies, scrounging for scraps from the hobby table? I don't know, and how can we get the most of that? If you're in the boardroom or the executive room of these companies, Collectors Universe / PSA, Collectible, a relatively new player in the hobby world, Panini, what do we do? How do we make this transition into the new hobby that's going to come? Yeah. And I'm not saying it's bad that there's going to be this deal. It's just like you said, the life cycle of an industry, and change is the only constant thing you can count on, is that things will change. Yeah. And so what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the most surprising move to me was Joe Orlando's, really, because that's a hobby stalwart basically going to something that's relatively unproven. It's someone saying, I did my time here, built something great. And that's no doubt about that. It was great what PSA is and was. To, I'm going to go take a shot at the next big thing that I think. And it's kind of what he basically said in his letter he put on the site. I see this as being the next big trend. And that probably stood out to me the most because it's one thing to go to a Panini or go to a collectibles universe or go to an Upper Deck to fill a void. We know what they are. We don't know what collectible really is going to be.
Right.
So good props to collectible for getting a name like that, right? You need a guy like that to come in and kind of provide some more foundation.
Yeah. I mean, but he's going to be the director of communication, like helping them start to communicate things and create content and stuff. Was that Joe's job at Collectors Universe? Like, that'll be interesting to see how he does that.
There was, yes, the write-up was, I'm trying to pull it up as we talk. Collectible says part of his role with them will be to produce foundational and educational content. And they reference like that he's authored and been a significant contributor to numerous books on sports memorabilia and written a bunch of articles. I never thought of Joe Orlando as a content guy, which is interesting. I never thought of PSA really as a content company. So it's interesting they point to that as like one of the key cogs in his role.
We shall see. You know, with all this changing that's happening, it's a miracle you and I haven't been offered executive positions at some of these. Like, I'm shocked. My phone's not ringing off the hook.
Well, mine has been ringing off the hook, and it's usually, hey, if you're willing to cut bait with Mike, come here, we'll take you. And I said, no, I can't do it. I'm not cutting bait with Mike.
Loyalty. I'm telling you, it's worth more than a paycheck. You're not just money hungry. I love it.
No, not at all. Why are my fonts bigger on my hat?
I was wondering the same thing. Did you order them from the same place?
Hey, apparently I needed to hire some director of manufacturing at this place.
It actually might not be the hat. It might be the size of our heads. Like my gigantic skull
shrinks the size of the font.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Your tiny noggin makes it look gigantic.
Yeah. Well, speaking of gigantic, I want to show you something. Okay, that was not the lead in I wanted there. Anyway,
the family show. Do not show me anything gigantic. And in your case, it'd be lying anyway. So that's all right.
Well played. Look at this release calendar for baseball in the next 16, we'll call it 17 weeks. If I read this correct, I'm showing 13 Topps baseball releases and 20 total baseball releases in 17 weeks. What the heck?
I think it is Wander Mania. Topps. So let's think about the formula here. Topps has gotten really good since 2017 of going, okay, if we have a decent rookie or rookie class,
yeah,
we need to take full advantage of that, right?
Right.
And so that's been a story that's played out, you know, for the last 4 or 5 years. And so now they can go, yeah, we'll do that again with Wander, even though it's technically a second year, all of his second year cards, but let's not be, you know, too picky about it. Lots of Wander stuff. And, you know, it's a lot of, I mean, it's not that unusual, probably. Like if I looked back at previous release years, but it just feels like a lot this year, like this tsunami of stuff, you know, of releases. I remember looking at the calendar going, holy crap, there's like a new product every week.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the short-sightedness of the hobby, or the short memory of the hobby that just is like ready to move on to something else? They don't let product simmer anymore, you know?
Yeah. Well, last year it wasn't like this. The year before that, it really wasn't like this. Yeah, the release calendar was somewhat congested, but it was spread out more because there was true supply chain issues. I think those are starting to fix themselves a little bit. And yeah, you're right. Topps is taking full advantage of it. I guess the question I have is, let's say that they do hold this schedule pretty close. What do you think what opportunities do you think exist because of that? Or is there any? Is it just too much, too fast?
What opportunities could there be? I guess a product that gets overlooked, maybe, that gets drowned out by the. If you pull the calendar up, like let's look at maybe some. Put my glasses back on so I can.
Yeah, and I it was kind of a setup because that's exactly what I was thinking. If in fact these products do roll out like this, I don't think Panini will have any opportunities. Like there's not gonna be opportunities in Donruss baseball, but Sterling might get overlooked.
Yeah.
Something like
a tier 1 tribute,
Gypsy Queen back to back weeks, that one of those might get overlooked with Series 2 coming out. Like there might be some opportunities to pick up cheaper Wander Francos or whoever else you're chasing.
I mean, you got your linchpin products, right? I mean, you've got obviously Series 1 is already out. You've got Bowman coming out in April. Oh, there goes my thing again. Hang on. Jeez.
Is there a tornado coming? While he's checking that, we'll look at the rest of these here. So Bowman coming out the end of April. We already know that Top Series 1 has come out and Heritage has already come out. Next big release is next week with Inception. But then you go to May and it's like Tier 1 Tribute Gypsy Queen Series 2 in the beginning of June. Museum Collection Pristine Stadium Club in July. It is just a flurry of releases. Are you okay? Are you going to getting swept away? Okay.
Nope. Not yet anyway. But so around these other products, you have some products that, again, like you said, might get overlooked. And I mean, I won't be opening any of it. I just bought my Heritage set though for 2022. But that's what's sad is, Heritage used to have a month to simmer in the hobby, or so. And Series 1 did have a few weeks till Heritage came out, right?
Yeah.
But it just feels like starting in a week or two, it's going to be just bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
Inundated with stuff.
Yeah.
Can the hobby take it?
Well, that's the great second question. I do wonder, no pun intended, if the hobby really can take this many releases this fast. I do wonder. I think that's the one thing that Fanatics will probably fix. Is because because you don't get to do fewer releases and really market them and put them out, and like comprehensive releases once every 3 weeks does a lot more than like every week coming out with something and you already forgot about the next one because the people that are buying into breaks are already breaking the next product, right? And they're worried about that. So
right, because you can't unload all. I mean, and I mean this in a nice way. Like you can't get rid of all of it in a week. Whatever your allocation is as a hobby shop or a breaker or whatever, unless you run 24/7, you're going to have a hard time filling all that up,
Yeah.
And then you're on to the next thing. It's like, wait a second.
For sure. I do think like that's why basketball and football have done relatively well the last couple of years, especially with wax prices. It's because there's been a pretty massive gap in between releases. I mean, we're still seeing releases back from last season come out and they're being sprinkled in with other releases. And as bad as it is from a timing perspective with the seasons, it hasn't been that bad in terms of like people being interested because that's the only thing out. It's the only thing there for them to go after. So
yeah, if you don't like a product, just wait a week. You'll get another one. I mean, that's not probably good strategy long term.
Yeah, agreed.
I just don't know that there's an appetite for that much product.
Yeah, that's a lot. 20 releases from Panini and Topps in 17 weeks. That is a lot to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Your Twitter feed, Mike, is going to be full of people showing off their new cards.
Yeah. Yeah, because I do that all the time.
Yes, you do. Okay, I want to ask you about the eBay vault, something I talked about a couple weeks ago. What are your thoughts on that? Do you know the general principle of it? I mean, it's a vault, so you kind of get it.
Yeah. The idea is you buy a card and they hold it for you, basically, right? I mean,
right.
PWCC has been doing this for a long time, and we know how honest and they are. no bitterness there from me.
I can tell. My gosh.
I just hate what that does to the hobby. Whenever there's a scandal at all,
Yeah.
just bad for the hobby. It's just bad look.
Yeah.
I just hate stuff like that. I feel that this is just, again, eBay trying to do more than they should. They need to stay in their freaking lane. Do what you do really well, which is provide a platform for people to buy and sell sports cards and other stuff, but this just feels like they're doing something they're not really meant to do.
I would disagree. I would disagree
Okay.
time on this one. Yeah. I actually really like the direction eBay's going, and not so much because of the vaulting specifically, but because I feel like that's what they had to do. It makes a lot of sense now why they're authenticating cards, because they were setting up this idea of authenticating to put in a vault. And now we look at what their competition's doing, and their competition is doing live breaks with whatnot, or live auctioning. So they're adding that in, coupled with the vault. What's their competition doing at collectible? Fractional ownership. What's eBay going to do? Fractional ownership if you have your cards in the vault. Like all these things that they can validate, and then they can allow you to do things that you can do other places, but now you can do it with your own stinking stuff. The one thing I couldn't stand about the idea of fractional ownership as a seller was, if I have a big card, I sell off a percentage of it just to let other people own it. Well, how about I just sell off percentage of it on my own and keep all that 20% margin or fees that I'm paying? And now you can do that, from your own phone. It's going to be like, the opportunities are endless from that perspective. I don't know. I thought it was pretty. It's not
ultimately, eBay is a publicly traded company. I own their stock. I want them to do everything they can to make money. But at the same time, I'm just disclosing that I own their stock so that I'm not sounding, and I own PayPal too, stock. So point being, where are they going to make money in this deal?
Is that a rhetorical question, or is that you're asking me where I think
I'm asking you where the money is to be made in that, because they're not charging for the vault service right now.
Well, there's no vault service right now. There will be, and I guarantee you they will charge for it. And I guarantee they will start charging for authentication before that. And they're going to probably charge fees on everything else. But the point I think I'm making is that you are now kind of in control of your own destiny to a certain extent. It's not getting others involved to do something. It's you can buy your cards, put them in a vault. You can then, from the click of a button, do a live auction in eBay Live and auction off something that you can pay for as a buyer and get immediately transferred to you from the vault, and then have it sent to you whenever you want. And then you can fractionally sell something immediately that's in your vault. Like all these things that they're kind of controlling. Some people don't like that, but I as a seller on eBay, I think it's a really neat thing that they're kind of bringing it all together.
I'm so old school, man.
Yeah. I mean, look, my collection's not going there. I wouldn't want to put my collection in their vault, but
right. I mean, I guess the new way things are, I just don't necessarily, that's not how it's not for me.
Doesn't get you excited.
No, but I get it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I want to hold a freaking card. I want to hold it and touch it and smell it and lick it or whatever. I don't know. That's what Pepino Man does to his cards. He licks his cards.
Oh, Pepino Man.
It's kind of weird.
If you need some quality entertainment, tune in to Pepino Man.
Yep. That's no doubt.
Not necessarily PG though.
Yeah, don't let your kids watch it. But he's a good guy. He's a great guy, actually.
Very much so. Did you see that card? That's okay. Sorry. Any more thoughts on the vault? No. I wanted to throw it out to you since we haven't talked about it.
No, that's cool.
You good? You're not loving it. You're not hating it, but you're not loving it.
No.
Did you see the miscut 52 Jackie that had a piece of the mantle on it?
Yes.
Sold for, I think it was an SGC or PSA 1. And it sold for like $70K.
I have it pulled up. Let me look at it. $72,000. I mean, it is pretty cool that Mantl's 311 in that set. Jackie was
Yeah.
312. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Imagine
it's pretty awesome.
right next to each other or something.
I just put it on the screen for anyone interested. There it is.
I can't believe it got a 1. I would think it would just get an authentic.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. How does that not get just an authentic? Because it wasn't altered. That's just like factory miscut. What would PSA give that? Probably a 1 OC or 1 miscut.
MC, yeah. But could you say you own? Hey, that's fractional ownership right there of a mantle. That's the fractional ownership I could get behind right there. Is if I bought a Jackie Robinson that fractionally had a Mickey Mantle on it, then I'm behind fractional ownership.
That's the next big thing. Miscut cards are the new fractional ownership. That's the next wave. You're always ahead of things.
Super cool though.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
If you wanted a miscut card, that's the one to get, right? Everybody's like, I love centering. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. What's going on? What else is going on the rest of the week for you? You have a pretty big interview coming up, right?
Well, I did so I got 2 things on my mind. One, both for Golden Age of Cardboard. I got an episode coming out Wednesday. It will be the perspective of a vintage card dealer. I talk to a lot of collectors on the show, and we all kind of have that collector mentality. And there's a dealer I've been dealing with the last few years that, and you know this, Ty, when you find a guy that is just an honest guy and will give you good deals. And like I have a shop up in Oklahoma where I buy a bunch of stuff because I've gotten to know the owner and I've built a rapport with him and I get good deals. And this guy is that type of guy at shows. He's been at the last few Dallas shows. He goes to the National. He has great stuff. And so I just wanted to pick his brain a little bit as a vintage dealer versus just a more modern dealer. He only deals in vintage. He does a lot of set building for people. And I'm just, it was a great conversation. And he's a good dude. And he's also a collector, which is all, I love to pick people's brains about how they manage that being both. And, you know, so that'll be Wednesday. And then the next week I plan on interviewing. I watched a story. Do you follow Blue Jacket, Dave Blue Jacket 66?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He did a Satchel Paige story where he told about when he was a kid and he went to Satchel Paige's house, and amazing story. Loved hearing it with his dad. And so it got me thinking about, I've had my dad on the show before, but my dad has such a vast experience in the sports world where sports television, sports broadcasting, and he's got lots of great stories. And I really want to do it. It's probably more for me than anyone else, although I hope other people find it entertaining, the idea of chronicling these stories and getting them down and telling it the way it was. And I had a blessed childhood, man. I got to go to any sporting event I wanted to pretty much in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because my dad was always a cameraman at these events. And so he was kind of the man around here. And so if there was a big event here, he was doing it. And I was blessed to go to a lot of those things. And so hearing those stories and talking to him about that is going to be fun for me. And that'll be next week. So
very nice.
He doesn't know it yet, though. I haven't told him. I probably need to tell him, but he'll do it.
That sounds like a blast. That sounds like an absolute blast. It got me thinking I should have my dad on the show sometime. He didn't have access to games, but he was definitely one of a kind. We should do a dad's episode where the 4 of us get on and just talk sports.
Oh, how fun would that be? We should do an on the fly with Mike, Ty. What's your dad's name?
Stan
and Palmer. That would be.
We could come up with something good.
Let us know down below if you want to see a dad's episode. We should do that around Father's Day.
We should.
Ooh, we're coming up with ideas on the fly. This is how we work.
This is truly how we work. We'll have to come up with a good little, little video, little fun video before a good intro video with our dads. We'll collaborate. We'll come up with something good.
Oh yeah, we'll come up with something. But let us know what you think about that idea down below. That'd be great.
I dig it.
What are you doing this week?
Anything a couple interviews coming up. hoping Nolan will be next week. Second round with Nolan. Couple card shop interviews with some card shops again, kind of looping back through card shops. I love getting their perspective on things. I feel like that's where you get the true vibe of the world of sports cards, not necessarily from shows, because you have the dedicated people going to shows. It's like, what's the shop telling me? So talking to a couple shop owners this week.
Hey, we mentioned doing a lot more live episodes.
Yeah.
2 weeks from today, let's do a live episode. You know why?
Why?
Because I'll be at your house.
Oh, yes. Coming up for a little, we're going to have some really good content in a couple weeks. Going to a show together in Montana.
Yeah, never thought I'd say that. I lost the bet. I don't know if you guys remember. I lost a bet that the Cowboys would beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs won. So the bet was one of us would go to the other's hometown and go to a show. Not that that's like, oh, I got to go. I'm happy to go to another show. And I'm going to spend some time with Ty and his family. We're going to go through some boxes in his garage and hopefully rummage a little bit. And we should do a live episode that day.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks from today.
That'll be fun.
Are you excited about me visiting your house?
I am.
Good.
I am. The boys are getting up. They're giving up their suite for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I want satin sheets. Minimum 800.
5,000 count.
Huh?
5,000 count.
5,000. There you go. Even better. Yes.
I only do 3,200 or 5,000 count sheets.
I'll take 5,000.
For all you collectors, you should have got that. Come on.
Get I want May. I'll send my dietary restrictions to May so that she knows what not to cook for me.
You need stuff with the most gluten and the most saturated fats possible.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm actually not. Yeah. I have no dietary restrictions other than lots of pizza, hamburgers. That's why I'm
around here. You walk outside, you go grab your food from the garden or from the chicken or pig pen, and you're good to go.
Let's
it's all
go.
yours.
That sounds bacon,
baby. I'm looking forward to having you. We'll have some good stories. We'll have some good episodes.
Yeah, we'll have the whole bench clear crew there. I think
we will. Matt will be here. Tyson will be here. It's going to be a fun time. If there's anything that you're hoping to see that weekend, you let us know. But I'm sure we'll come up with some fun ideas for some content.
We will do some funny things.
Oh yeah, cool, man.
All right,
have a good week.
You too, man. See you guys. Yeah.